If you're coming from my newsletter, not in the brief, where I'm talking about my After Effects rebellion, then you already know what we're about to dive into. But if you found this video on its own, hi, I'm Brittany, and this is a step-by-step breakdown of how I made a stop-motion hand animation using Figma and Jitter. No After Effects download required. So before we jump in, let's take a look at the animation that we're going to be creating today. Pretty simple, but the key here is a lot of it's actually done outside of the animation tool, which was a game changer for me when I went to go create this. To start, what I did was take photos of my hand in different positions. The goal here is, and I did some practice before I took these images, but the goal is to replicate you putting up whatever hand signal you want to do. I did the peace sign since that's part of the Not in the Brief branding. And I took a photo of each key movement of my hand, as you see here. And at the end, I wanted to do a slight twist. Oh, there's some balloons. It's a party. A slight twist of the hands to add a little bit more playfulness to the animation. So after taking the photos, I took them on my phone and then I did Bluetooth transfer over to my computer, and then I brought the images into Figma. And so we're first going to start in Figma to remove backgrounds, to organize and prep the design, and then also create the surrounding design elements before heading into Jitter. A short tip that I wanted to share is in my process, I've learned that staying in Figma before bringing things over to Jitter and making sure that it's organized and it's well planned out does help streamline the process a bit. So here I brought in the images, and for the next step, we're going to remove the background. I did some prep work, so we didn't spend too much time, but I will show you on this first image what I did to remove the background. And you may be familiar with different widgets that do this, but I actually use the AI beta feature that Figma has, and it's surprisingly works really well. So let's do that on this first one. Depending on the size of the image, sometimes it takes a while, but this should be pretty quick. Great. So we have all the backgrounds removed for the images that we want to use. And you'll notice that parts of my body that we don't want in the final designs are still in here. So what I ended up doing was cropping to the portion of the hand that I want to show. And again, I did some pre-work and organized the image's name so that when we bring it over into Jitter, we don't have to do so much prep work there. So what I'm going to do is select all of these, and we're going to center it and then make sure it's aligned at the bottom. And as you see, it's not fully centered, so we do need to do some tweaks. So I'm going to lock this first layer because that's the one I want to work in. And to keep things a little more organized, let's just have the second one prepped. And we can see it's a little off to the right. So I'm just going to tuck this in. The great thing about stop motion is you don't have to be 100% perfect, but to have it a little bit more aligned is going to leave better results. So let's hide these, open up the fourth image. Oops. I'm going to tuck this one. Actually, this one's going to be slightly different because I'm looking at two things. I'm looking at the arm and then I'm looking at the base of the hand. And I think the base, with it being in the center, is a little bit more of the focus area. So we're going to leave that one there. Let's look at 5. And you also have to keep in mind that the hand is changing a little bit, so you have to find like which area you want to focus on. So here again, my arm is quite in a different position than the base of my hand. So I'm going to align it the best way that I can. Um, I could finesse a little bit more, but I did do some pre-work. So again, when you're creating this, perfect it in this stage as much as you can before bringing it over into Jitter. So let's go over to step 4. This is where I explored quite a few different layout options until I found one that works. This was my original work, so you could see the hands are pretty aligned for the most part, only some small differences between the first and the last hands. And then I added the colors and the elements that I wanted. And from here, I'm set. So I have a horizontal and a vertical version for the different platforms I want to post this on. But for this example, we're just going to click the first one. And now the goal is to bring this over to Jitter. So what you're going to do is go back into the widgets section, and we're going to do plugins and widgets. Mine's already popping up. All you would need to do is just type in Jitter. It's the only one available. And you click it and you have 2 options. If this is your first project, you would copy and paste it over. So let's just give it a second to load. Okay, so you can open it in Jitter. That's going to create a new file for you. If you already have a file, you would copy to clipboard. I already have it over there, so let's just hop into Jitter. Okay, so again, let's take a quick peek at the animation. It's pretty simple once it's broken down, so let's just jump right in. I'm gonna move this over slightly so we have enough space. So we want to start with hand 1. What we're going to do is individually select these and add a new animation to them. And the reason why we're going to do it individually instead of grouping them is so that when we go to activate them, that them being individual means that it's not going to affect the group. So that is one thing to keep in mind with Jitter when you group stuff. Okay, so let's go into new animation. They do have some great presets that you could do, but for this project, we're going to go into custom and we're only going to use hide and show. So again, let's individually hide all the hands except for hand number 1. So we're hiding number 5, number 6. I'm going to move my face over here so we can see the whole thing. Okay, so now we're at the start of the hand, which is the fist, and we select this, we'll see that these are all the ones that are hidden. So what I like to do is group it from this. And again, unlike Figma, we do want to name things because it's really important. Okay, and the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this over to 0. Okay, next steps. Now we want to activate the hand motion. So we are going to, actually we can keep it on 0. What we're going to do is we have this showing, but we want hand 2 to show. So actually let's drag this over to 25. We're going to do new animation, custom hide. Without clicking thing on the timeline, we're going to go to hand 2, new animation, custom hide, action show. Now let's do that again. So let's bring it to 50. We're going to click on hand 2, new animation, hide it, activate hand 3 by showing it, and I will show you what we just did. So let's bring it to 0. So you see we already have a little bit of that motion, and this is it. This is the gist of what this animation is. So from here, it's a little bit tedious, but we will be happy with the results. So we did, we left off on hand 3. So what we need to do now is hide it and show hand 4. Let's go to 1 second. Oh, hand 4 needs to hide. Need to show hand 5. Let's drag it to 125 so we have a consistent spacing between everything. Hide and show and show. I always forget that it doesn't automatically update, so don't forget that as well. Okay, we're almost done. Let's hide 6, show 7, and then let's take a look. Oops. See, I told you. I warned you that this was going to happen. I always forget to check that. So actually, what did I do? Oh, I just activated the wrong one. So I want to show this one. When I have to do tedious things, sometimes I always, gotta make one mistake. Can't be perfect. Let's see. Okay, I'm happy with that. So if we think that this is too fast, too slow, what I do is I grab all of the elements that I want to increase the time on. I will group it, again, name it, and then we could make this to 3 seconds. Okay, and then let's see what that looks like. So yeah, maybe a little too slow, but this is the time to finesse a little bit. Let's do 130. One other thing that you could do is, yeah, you could press this, and what it's going to do is just keep looping. So if you do want to turn this into a gift, you'll see what that looks like. Let's take a quick peek at the original. See if, yeah, okay. So if you want to make it look more natural, and let's do a quick comparison. So what is happening on this one is it's opening, and then when it loops, it's just going from this to this really fast. Whereas this one, it's showing, the top, and then it's going slowly back down. So let's analyze how to do that real quick. So in the original one, I do have it more organized where I'm doing the hide and show and then showing or grouping them so that it's showing like, okay, this is hand 1, hand 2, hand 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the from close to peace sign. And then we're going to activate, let's analyze this a little bit. We're going to flip them so that the last one is hiding and then 6 is showing. And then we're going to go back down. So it's just a matter of doing that same process, but clicking on these and then hiding and showing them in that same process to get the motion of it going up and then it going back down. And yeah, that is the animation. If you want to apply it to different screen sizes, one thing that's really great is once you apply the animation, you could just copy that and bring it over into another file, which is what I did here, and the animation stays. So you can, if you're posting it on LinkedIn versus IG versus TikTok. You have all these different sizes. You don't have to redo the animation. Um, the canvas is a new feature in Jitter, and it just makes life so much easier. One quick tip, if you have music that you want to apply to an animation, you could also do that. And yeah, that is the tutorial. If you end up making this and want to share it with me, I would absolutely love that. You can email me at notinthebrief@gmail.com or find socials. Everything is in the newsletter or in the YouTube links below. Okay, thank you. I hope that was helpful. And if you have any suggestions on how I could have been more clear, I love feedback. All right, have a great day.